What's happening? How you guys doing?
This is your first buy as an OC, but how nice is it to have a week just to step back and kind of self-scout without having to worry about a specific opponent and have time to just see where you are as an offense?
It's really good. I think it came in the right time more for the guys that are on the field and getting some of those guys healthy and letting them rest. But as a staff, being able to go through a lot of our tape and figure out, we have an idea each week on what we're doing well, what we're doing poorly, how it needs to be adjusted, who we need to play more, not necessarily who we need to play less, but do we get this guy the ball more. But it's really good just to take a deep breath, see where we're at, and especially looking ahead to some of the teams that we play in the division a couple times where you can take some time to look at tape on those guys as well. So it's good to get out of here for a little bit, see your family, and then get right back to it.
After looking at everything, what were you pleased with what the offense has done thus far?
I would say with the ability for the guys that have not played much ball to come in here and get up to speed with what we're doing and how we're doing it, how we operate, and just seeing the strides that they've been able to make from starting their first game, second game, third game, and the confidence that those guys have and the things you see in practice showing up on the tape. So really for their end of it, just being able to have those more reps has been huge in terms of it could be from the O-line, it could be from the receivers, it could be from the backs, and just seeing those guys take steps. And then our ability just to try to mix and match and not have the run game exactly where we want it to be right now, but trying to keep them off balance with throwing it and running it and really trying to mix those two in.
Josh, you said you had to look at all types of elements of the offense. Was there any point of focus or an element that you wanted to, a point of focus, a point of, just, you got to study in one area. You got to get better at this.
Right. I would say it's tough to really narrow down exactly one because we look at every aspect of the game plan, whether it's the run game, the pass game, situationally on third down, red area. So all those places have areas for improvement. We have looked at, in terms of the run game, creating more explosives in terms of our fundamentals and techniques and these runs that could be 4 to 5 yards that should be 12 yards, but one position group is off. And collectively, that's not good enough. So we really harped on that. But then outside of that, just looking at, like I said, what are we doing on third down? What are we doing in the red area to try to improve some of those as well?
In the last Saints game, you obviously were down there a bunch of times and ran it every single time. Was that an attitude thing? And just what do you think you need? Obviously, no Mike Evans, no Chris Godwin, those guys who helped down there. But what do you think you need to improve sort of the red zone area?
Yeah, when it comes to that, when you get the ball on the half-yard line, you need to be able to score. And generally running it in. The good teams run it in. They're able to pound people. And so when it comes to that, it comes down to, one, the fundamentals and techniques and pad level and how we're hitting blocks. But then to your point, also open it up a little bit where if it's not working, you might need to throw it. That way you can keep these guys honest. But it comes down to pad level and the want-to when it comes to that, because if you get it down there that low, you got to be able to punch that thing in.
How do you think Sean Tucker looked with a little bit more playing time in that last game?
I thought he did a nice job, really, from every game that he's played with having more carries. He had a couple in the game that, not that he had the same game as he had last year versus New Orleans, but he had a couple where there wasn't much there up the middle, and he was able to take that thing to the perimeter and really get some efficient runs. So his ability to have that second gear to be able to get it outside was really good, and I think Tuck's done a good job in some of the pass protection stuff as well.
What's the biggest challenge with this defense that you're going to face Sunday, Josh?
A lot of challenges. I think it starts with the coaching staff and what Coach Vrabel was able to do there in terms of setting up his standard and the way these guys play. You can see it on tape all the way back from his time in Tennessee. With these guys are very disciplined. They play very hard. They do a good job of turnovers. But when it comes to the player side of it as well, these guys got guys at really every level of the defense. I think it starts up front with Barmore. These guys being able to add Milton Williams has been a big asset for him as well up the middle. And then when you talk about the edges in Landry and Chason, those guys get after the passer. I think Chason's probably playing the best he's played. And then playing Spillane last year in the middle, he makes it go as the stack linebacker. His communication, his ability to run to the ball, communicate with those guys. And then you see what Jones can do at nickel. These guys came in there. He was a return reform. He played a little bit of offense. He's very versatile. You guys are fully aware of what Carlton can do. And then they got Gonzalez on the other side where they're a good outfit. And the safeties are playing well too, especially the young guy. And these guys turning the ball over. It's a well-rounded group and very well coached.
We saw Luke Goedeke come back from his 21-day window and he's been at practice. We heard Graham Barton and Baker Mayfield say he's a tone setter on this offensive line. If he's able to come back on Sunday and whenever he's able to come back, regardless, what does he bring to this offense and how much of an injection does it kind of give to the whole unit?
Yeah, they nailed it. He's definitely a tone setter with the way he prepares and the way he practices. And anytime you can get someone back, no matter what position it is in terms of a starter, it's always going to elevate you. With the communication levels with those guys, the comfortability with them being able to play together, know exactly what they're thinking. And like you said, then his personality as well, with being able to be that tone setter, being a little bit of a meathead, and going out there and being able to pound people.
Mecca got up to an unbelievable start, right? And then you started losing guys. You lost Mike and Chris and so on. Now I'm guessing he's going to get a lot of that cloud coverage or, safety over the top. How is he adjusting to that, and how do you keep him still, being that playmaker that he was earlier in the year?
For sure. I think you saw that a little bit I wouldn't say start for the Detroit game, because you even saw it versus really Philly, but especially in the Detroit game with the coverage rolling that way or being double teamed, where we got to find better ways to get him the ball, even if he has the double team on him. And then if he does have the double team, then it's what are we doing for the other side of it, because these guys should be singled up in man coverage to be able to get them the rock. So that's something he'll have to adjust to based on those guys being out, like you said. But he's prepared for as well, because that's the way he conducts his business, and he knows, okay, if I'm not getting this because I'm getting doubled, then it's opening up Tez or Cade or whoever it might be. So that's mainly on us to try to find ways to get him the ball, even if he was getting the cloud corner or cloud safety over top.
With the corners on the Patriots that you were just talking about, what makes them such a difficult matchup?
Yeah, these guys, and not that it's the same system as when Coach Belichick was there, but you really saw it even going back. I'm thinking like being in Miami and going against Gilmore and these guys. They're very fundamentally sound. They're very disciplined. They're very patient at the line of scrimmage, where they're not going to just go ruin the play by doing something dumb at the line of scrimmage. So it forces you to be really crisp with your routes, your detail, their ability to play through the pocket on catches when you extend your hands for the ball, and their ability for these guys to swarm to the football as well. So very disciplined. They play within the scheme. They do a lot of different coverages, so you're not necessarily attacking one thing. So it's hats off to them, because they can play a multitude of coverages, and they execute them very well. So there's a lot of positives to them.
You were saying that the players really needed it, even more than the coaches to buy. What about Baker? We know he was beat up. Have you noticed? Has he been re-energized? How much do you think that he really needed to buy?
He's always energized. I would say body-wise, he can definitely use a couple of days off right there, which I'm sure helped him. But he has the same juice out here today as he did really in the first day of training camp, and especially in OTAs, just with how he conducts himself. But I think everybody, being week, 8, 9, 10 in the NFL, you're going to be banged up. So anytime you can take 7 days off and get away from this, stop listening to us talk to you and correct you for 5-6 hours out of the day is always beneficial to people.
Going back to the defense, what makes a run defense so effective?
They're so gap sound in terms of they don't get out of a gap that way, that if you have two people in one gap and now you can gash them in the run game, you see that from time to time around the NFL. With these guys, you don't really see that. And it starts because of how physically fit and strong they are up the middle, where you're trying to get off of those blocks, and those guys do such a good job. They're predicated off setting the edge with the defensive ends. They're trying to box everything in. So when you get those two things and they're disciplined, there's not a lot of running lanes, which is why it leads to being one of the better rush defenses in the league.
Josh, not that he's tried to take off or anything with his injuries, but are you seeing Detroit spy Baker, and then you're probably seeing more run lanes being clogged up? Is he just going to have to get the ball out quicker from the pocket, or what adjustment has to be made if they're going to adjust the way?
Yeah, I would say that Detroit did a nice job with it on trying to put a spy on him, where some of those rush lanes, like you're talking about, weren't necessarily there. So at the end of the day, once they're doing that, they're still playing man coverage on the outside. So we got to be able to go win outside and create things to get these guys open. That way, if they do want to put somebody on them here, we can try to throw it over here.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, guys. Take care.